Alright then, let's start this by saying that there will be footage in this video of both myself playing the game, and I'm going to have to borrow some footage from other YouTube channels. Any that I do borrow will be credited somewhere on screen, probably in a corner somewhere. So this video is because I've been doing Elden Ring randomizers on stream, which have and have not been going particularly well, depending on how you look at things. The other night I looked at it because I was trying to, I went into the settings and because I was trying to find where the Dactus medallions are in the game, and because I want to progress the storyline. You know, I want to get to some of the harder areas and, you know, all that kind of stuff. But the file for it is a bit of a mess, as you probably imagine. So you've got where all of the items are, and then you've got all of what replaces what, like what enemies are replaced. But there's specific areas that are replacing, that involve replacing bosses and sub-bosses. And this was what interested me most, and is the reason I'm making this video, because I've taken out the bits with the bosses, like all of this, and so some of them, for example, the Grafted Zion Chapel of Anticipation was replaced with Necromancer Garrus, who was scaled down, but I don't know what these numbers mean. So I've taken those out, tidied them up. I've also got all these down here, but I'm not going to be going through those because that's just going to take me forever. But there is a chance that I'm going to be doing a couple of collab streams with a friend, and we're going to see, like we're going to do a scoring system based on which bosses we kill and whatnot like that. So, but for now, this video is me talking about where these bosses have been replaced, and if that's lucky or unlucky, and then there'll be an overall score at the end that tells me whether or not this is, you know, lucky or unlucky, effectively. So the first one is Godric the Grafted has been replaced with a Red Wolf of Radagon. The Red Wolf of Radagon is obviously very fast. He's also a glass cannon. He does a lot of damage, and that giant sword he swings around is extremely dangerous. Very reminiscent of the sort of Sith-like boss from Dark Souls. I believe it was 2. Although you don't want to be quoting me on that because I'm probably wrong. And so it's one of those bosses that sort of requires a lot of room to move around in. Godric's arena is fairly small, but it's not like ridiculously small. There is plenty of room to play around with there. Since I've got Tish and I've got some other summons, like one of the main reasons I want to get the Dactus medallion sorted is so I can try and find the rest of the, you know, upgrade materials and such for upgrading my summons. And I believe, who fights alongside you in against Godric? I think it's Nephilim Lou, because you're not a fan of him or something. Otherwise, I honestly think this is lucky. I'm going to put this as very lucky, because the arena is probably about the same size as the Corian Study Hall, which I believe is the room in Relicaria where you actually fight the Red Wolf of Radagon. I say while it's not as wide, it's certainly as long, if not longer, which means that there's plenty of room to play around with, and hopefully not enough room for me to die a lot. Next one is, this is just extremely unlucky. I'll put this as like a +2 because that's very lucky. So it's going to go from very extremely unlucky, which is like, so extremely is going to be the extremes of lucky or unlucky. So it'll be, in this case it's a -3. Then it's going to be very lucky and very unlucky, which is +or -2. Lucky or unlucky, which is +or -1. Then I'm just going to put meh, or I might put neutral, which is just 0, as in. And that's usually going to be either I don't know enough about the boss fight to really quantify whether I'm lucky or unlucky in the placement of that boss, or it's the case of I don't have enough experience, or it's just going to be one of those things that will come down to, you know, how I'm feeling on the day, effectively. Is my music still playing? Yes, but it seems very quiet. Let's change the volume slightly to 5. Right, so yeah, we've faced against Astel, Natural Born of the Void, in Margit's arena. Now, Astel was made and its attacks are designed for a much larger arena than Margit's very, very tiny arena. I've faced him a bunch of times in one of the streams. If I've done this all right, then it means there's footage playing right now of me getting my ass handed to me no matter what setup I tried. Obviously I will go back and try it again now. All my weapons are +7s, and you know, I've got Tish and a bunch of other stuff, but where it's placed for what it's designed for is extremely unlucky, basically, and is likely to lead to a lot of deaths in the same sort of scenario. Morgott, the Omen King, is replaced with Rykard, Lord of Blasphemy. Rykard, Lord of Blasphemy is phase 2 of Rykard. Morgott's arena might be large enough to make using the Serpent Hunter sword a good enough value proposition, assuming that it is given to you automatically, instead of, because obviously if it's given to you, if it's given to you in the God Devouring Serpent fight, which is actually in a much better arena, then that's going to be a problem, and it will mean I will have to face the Ancestor Spirit in Siofra Riverwell before facing Rykard. I'll be honest, this is going to be one of those things I might have to cheese. There's a thing where if you hold a great axe or a polearm in your offhand, then you can hit it from a distance. There's a chance that it might work. I know for a fact from watching other randomizers that if you fight Rykard outside of Volcano Manor, outside of his normal arena, the lava that's there is purely cosmetic, in the sense of, is this music really playing? Hold on. Yeah, it is. It's just very quiet. Yeah, because I've seen, I think it was Rusty's playthrough where Rykard was where the Leonine Misbegotten is at Castle Morn or Fort Hate. I can't remember which of those two it is. I think it's Castle Morn, the Weeping Peninsula one. But yeah, so the lava there is purely cosmetic. The only thing that's going to matter is the arena size. But I think Morgott's arena is maybe big enough, so I'm just going to put lucky. It's a tentative lucky, but it could be fine, just based on the arena size and the requirement of using the Serpent Hunter sword, which has obviously weapon skill that is good against that. Right, gold free. I don't know if it's actually gold free. First Elden Lord has been replaced with Radagon of the Golden Order. This will be my own footage. This is just extremely unlucky again. Like, the arena, again, is not made for a boss whose AoE attacks are as varied as Radagon's are. His ability to catch magic and throw it, his ground pound, the jump in the air, smash the hammer down, as well as the sort of the wave and the rings of light and the lightning bolt and all that. Everything he does has very, very, like, it has a lot of AoE attached to it. And in an arena the size of Godfrey, I'm just going to call him that because that's what it says here, it's kind of hard to maneuver around his attacks. Like, there might be a pattern to doing it. Obviously I've had to fight him every time I've completed Elden Ring in the past, but it's the arena that's there, it gives you enough room to run backwards away from it, whereas if you try running backwards in Godfrey's arena, you will just get trapped against the wall and then beaten to death with Marika's hammer. Horalu, also, hold on, where am I now? Where's the cursor gone? Horalu is the second phase of Godfrey, the first Elden Lord, in right before the very end of the game, before you face actual Radagon and the Olden Beast. Has been replaced with Royal Knight Loretta. This is questionable. Royal Knight Loretta is obviously mounted. I believe this is the one that you face in the Hallig Tree. No, hold on. Where is this? This is one with a circle of chairs. It's a much larger arena, and I think you can use your horse there. It's an optional boss. I don't think I've fought it before. If I have fought it before, it's a long time ago. The only thing I know for certain is that you cannot use your horse in the Horalu arena. Otherwise, the size of the arena might be large enough to validate it, which could be fine, as it's the second phase of Horaloo anyway, of Godfrey anyway, it might be okay, because obviously you've only got to get through a certain amount of health, unless it full refreshes the health, in which case that's a problem. But at the same time, the arena might be large enough to validate it being fine, so I'm just going to put a neutral here because I'm not 100% sure. I forget there's a symbol for plus minus. Right, Godfrey, First Elven Lord, has been replaced with Leonine Misbegotten. I'm guessing that's going to scale the Leonine Misbegotten up by quite a significant margin. Leonine Misbegotten is the boss that you normally fight, where in Fort Hate or Castle Morn, that one that's in Weeping Peninsula, and he gives you the Game of Thrones sword, basically. Depending on how the scaling works for it, this could be extremely lucky, because Godfrey has a lot of AoE attacks, specifically the one where he throws his sword, throws his giant axe, and then jumps and catches it. But also the ground slam that causes the shockwaves could be a problem. Whereas Leonine Misbegotten doesn't really have a lot of that. He's fast and can do a lot of damage very quickly, but he's not particularly strong. So I'm going to put this in the camp of being very lucky. Right, so Gideon Ofnir the All-Knowing has been replaced with the Ancestor Spirit. This is probably the funniest part, considering where my Sir Gideon Ofnir has ended up, which is the final battle of the entire game. So the Ancestor Spirit again has a very large arena, which is for the purpose of its ability to bounce around, and basically it has a lot of escapes. I can't remember if it has many AoE abilities. This is an optional boss in Siofra Riverwell. It's the first of the two Ancestor Spirits, actually. There's the other one I think is in Ainsel. But otherwise, I think this is probably going to be fine. I think it's going to be limited by how high it can jump and how far it can run. And it's not like a super tanky boss regardless. So I think I'm going to put this as a lucky, because I don't know how it's going to work in that arena specifically. Dragon King Soldier of Noxtella has been replaced with a Fire Giant 2. I believe this is in the Lake of Rot. Dragon King Soldier of Noxtella. Hold on, let me just double check this one. It's fought in... Where do I fight you? Ainsel River. Oh, right, okay, yeah, so I know exactly which this is. I was mixing it up with a standard Dragonkin soldier. That's my bad. Okay, so you're not fighting it in Lake of Rot, you're fighting it in an underground water palace, basically. Fire Giant 2, that's going to be extremely difficult, especially considering all of those. Can this boss beat, 10 of this other boss? And usually the second phase of Fire Giant can do enough damage to stop that. That's going to require a lot of preparation. It's not a massive arena, unlike the mountaintops of the giants, so I think it's going to be hard to escape from some of its... Like, if it rolls across the arena, it's probably going to roll across the whole thing. If it does the shield slam, it's going to hurt. If it does the explosion of fire, the AoE might just consume the entire arena. I'm going to put that one as very unlucky, because that's really difficult. I think that's going to be one of the more difficult ones. But saying that, because the arena is self-contained, I'll leave it a very unlucky. Just because while the arena is self-contained, I don't think that's going to help much. It's still a huge boss that can just body slam you from nowhere. Right, the Valiant Gargoyle. This is the dual boss fight in, I believe it's also Ainsel Ruin. Valiant Gargoyle. It's a dual boss fight in, at least I assume this is going to be the Siofra River Aqueduct. Okay, so that's... Okay, so the arena is huge. The only thing I've got to question is if Starscourge Radahn will get his second phase and do the meteor. So if it does the meteor, it will probably kill itself on something nearby. But at the same time, I'm not entirely sure, because obviously this is fairly uncharted territory when it comes to, you know, bosses being in different arenas, etc., etc., so forth. I'm going to put this as a neutral, simply because I do not know how that's going to play out when it comes right down to it. That's going to be one of the ones that's going to be really hard to assess before actually, you know, getting there and actually fighting it out. Right. Mimic Tier has replaced Commander Nile. I can't remember if Commander Nile is the one in Caelid or the one in Stormvale. Not Stormvale. Castle Sol. Castle Sol is in Mountaintops of Giants. Right, so Commander Nile's arena is very, very small, but then again, it's a Mimic Tier. I can just use the same. There's a cheat way to kill the Mimic Tier, and it's just take off all your armor, take off all your weapons, and it would be basically powerless. Wherever the Mimic Tier is, where it's not an optional fight, which, I mean, going to Castle Sol is an optional fight, of course, but like no matter how much they upscale it, it can still be cheesed in exactly the same way. Fierce champions have been replaced with Lich Dragon Fortisax. I mean, their arenas are basically the same thing, but Fortisax is horrifying. Fortisax, if I remember rightly, is the one that does Death Blight Lightning. Yeah, he's normally in Deep Root Depths. He's another variant of Pharaoh Mazula Dragon. He's a normal variant. Right, so what are its attacks? Ancient Dragon, Lightning Spear, Lightning Glaive, yeah, so he can jump around and do a lot of shit. This is a genuine threat. This is like an Avengers level threat. Fierce Champions Arena isn't really that big. There might be enough space that you can put yourself between yourself and the dragon, but I don't think there's going to be enough. That is going to be a desperate summon fight. So I'm going to put that as extremely unlucky. Actually, this is a -3, isn't it? Whereas that's a +3. I'm already forgetting my own rules. Right, Lich Dragon Fortisax has been replaced with Godfrey, the first Elden Lord. I think this is probably fine, actually. Godfrey is not much more than a standard boss fight, really, like against someone like Margit. I can't remember if he's got any like seriously dangerous attacks, but realistically speaking, an arena that's like 2 or 3 times the size of his actual arena, you know, that could be completely fine. Where is it for? Deep Root Depths. Let me see, how big is this area? It's massive. There's plenty of room to like get out of his way, basically. I'm going to put this in as a lucky. It's a tentative lucky though, because I'm not 100% sure if I'm actually going to be as safe as I think I'm going to be there. Astel Natural Born of the Void has been replaced with a Valiant Gargoyle. This is nothing. This is lucky. This is very lucky. Huge arena. You're going to spend a long time. You're not going to spend a lot of time worrying about things teleporting around you. I know the Valiant Gargoyle can close distance quite quickly, but at the same time, it's nowhere near as dangerous as Astel, regardless of how scaled up or down it is. Moglord of Blood has been replaced with Renala. That's just very lucky, extremely lucky. Renala Phase 1 is literally a nothing boss at all. I can't remember if Moglord of Blood is Phase 1 or Phase 2. Let me see. Lord of Blood. Mogfully Embrace the Accursed Omen. And let me see. And 2 of the 5 available shard borrow areas. What is Phase 2? I need to know where his Phase 2 is. I guess it might be Phase 1. So that means that, what is the second? Moke the Omen, Godric the Grafted. That could be dangerous. but saying that, like, phase 1 will be very easy to get past, so that's still extremely lucky regardless. Ancestor Spirit is replaced with a God Devouring Serpent. This is where I need to question about the Serpent Hunter Sword. Like, if you get the Serpent Hunter Sword, Ancestral Spirits Arena is absolutely goddamn massive. I don't believe there'll be a phase 2, considering that Rykard is in Morgoth's arena. So I'm going to put that as very extremely lucky as well. Simply because the arena's massive. If you do get the Serpent Hunter Sword, you're sorted. You don't even have to worry about the entire fight, basically, and except for, you know, me being dumb. Right, the Regal Ancestor Spirit. This is the one in Install, isn't it? Regal Ancestor Spirit. In Hallowhorn Grounds. Oh, it's in Nokron. Okay. It's still going to be a huge arena. Renala also has a fairly huge arena. Phase 2 of Renala, though, is... Is it going to be... Is that fine? I think it's fine, sort of. It just depends on, like, your RNG with Renala's summons, I suppose. So I'm going to put this as... Yeah, I'm going to put this as lucky. Malekith the Blackblade. Being replaced by... Where's my Malekith then? Malekith is replacing Rykard. Yeah, that seems to make sense. Okay, so Malekith being replaced by Godskin Duo, that's nothing. I fought the Godskin Duo down in Fringe Valkyrie's Cavern, and basically completely wiped the floor with them, and I'll only be stronger by the time I get to Farum Azula. So I don't think there's going to be a problem there. I'm going to put this as very lucky, because the Godskin Duo are not as much of a threat as they think they are, especially when compared to Destined Death. Beast Clergyman, which is phase 1 of Malekith, is replaced with the Elden Beast. The arena might make it hard for that fight to be a thing. If the Elden Beast does get stuck on the pillars in Malekith's arena, then I suppose it could be fine. I mean, you can definitely dodge the Elden Stars. It'll be how it handles the AoE abilities, like when it goes up in the air and does the rings. It'll be problematic, because obviously once you get to the one where it does 3, then you're going to have to, like, that could potentially take up the entire arena, and that's a very legitimate concern. I think I'm going to leave this as a neutral, simply because I don't know exactly where. It depends on where that fight starts, where each player starts basically in that fight. Obviously stuff like summons and long range stuff. I think the Elden Beast is basically immune to everything, every status. So let me just check that. Elden Beast. I'm guessing it's basically immune to everything. Yeah, literally immune to every status effect. So that it'll be useless to try and do other things. There's a lot of attacks I think that I'll be able to get. I'm going to move that up to lucky, I think, just because there's a lot of attacks I think that you wouldn't normally be able to dodge because of the arena that the Elden Beast is in. But since you're in an arena with a lot of obstacles, as long as those obstacles can't be permanently destroyed, then it won't be a problem. Right, Dragon's Lord Placidus Axe has been replaced with Margit the Felloman. I think that's going to be fine. Placidus Axe's arena is absolutely stonking massive, and Margit is obviously, like, they'll have to scale Margit up, but at the same time, like, you can put a lot of distance between you and him, and you know, you could just, like, I fought him in the castle, the castle where Theodorix was, which is where Leonine Misbegotten usually is, and like that version of it, I just plinked with arrows from a distance, while the poison and Scarlet Rot also did some damage to him. Realistically speaking, I think that's a very lucky fight. It's just a beneficially huge arena that, you know, is ridiculous. Godskin Duo, Moog the Omen. Now I need to know where the Godskin Duo, I believe, are Mount Volcano Manor, or Mount Gelmir. Crumbling Tower in Missoula. Okay. I need to know the specific. Oh right, yeah. So it's in the room. That's going to be a problem. I mean, so I will have to get the cleansing physic tier thing beforehand. The problem with it is Moog does a lot of the bleed fire stuff, and in an arena as small and relatively unprotected as the Godskin Duo's one, that's going to be hard to avoid. Meanwhile, as long as I can avoid the Nihil, the blood ritual thing, I might be okay. Obviously, they're going to have to scale down Moog for Farah Missoula, because obviously it's usually a lot higher up than there. But yeah, I'd say that's. I'm going to believe that. I'm going to put this one specifically on neutral though, because this is one of those things where, like, luck is going to play a huge factor. Like how much damage you take versus how much he's got. Renala 2 is being replaced with Fire Giant 1. Fire Giant Phase 1 on top of the Giants. So it's a huge. Renala 2's arena is huge, but I don't know if it's endless. I don't know if it's big enough that you can safely fight the Fire Giant there. But also his slam attack and his the shield, you know, sort of scrape. The rollers still do damage. The fire god's balls of death are still a problem. I don't think this is as good as it looks. Like, I'd say their arenas are comparable. I don't know. Maybe it could be fine. I might be just overthinking this one specifically. I'll leave this one on neutral just because the arena sizes are the same-ish. Like, obviously, while I've fought Renala before, because it's the most logical progression route through Elden Ring, like you do Godric and then you do Renala, and then you go on to Lanedale. But with Renala, I've never really seen how big her actual arena is. Whereas obviously Fire Giant 1 has the entirety of the mountaintop, so there's a chance it's going to suck, there's a chance it'll be fine. It just depends on how big Renala's arena actually can get. Renala Phase 1 has been replaced with Loretta, Knight of the Haligtree. I don't like this much. There's a lot of chance for Loretta to get stuck on terrain. Not necessarily terrain, but like the pillars. Although I'm assuming the AI might be smart enough to avoid that exact scenario from occurring, in the same way as the Tree Sentinel I fought at the top of Mount Gelmir, in that it will it will still try and attack you. I think Loretta is going to be a boss that I'm going to have to cheese because of the restrictions on my ability to run the fuck away from it. I'm going to put that as a unlucky. It's not super unlucky because I don't know exactly how that fight's going to go, but I will put it as an unlucky because it's a small arena and I don't like the idea. I mean, if it's a ghost one from just before you face Melania, I think that's it. Is that right, Loretta? Let me see. Knight of the Haligtree. Loretta, Knight of the Haligtree. Ah, okay, so Royal Knight Loretta is the one you actually fight on the Haligtree, I believe. No, this one is the one you fight on the Haligtree. Royal Knight Loretta is the one you fight in Courier Manor, which I won't be fighting, so that's good. Right, so actually that probably makes it a bit closer to neutral because the arena you fight Loretta in is a lot smaller. The only problem is again the horse, so I'm leaving it as unlucky because they can be mounted, you can't. Red Bull for Radagon has been replaced with a Dragonkin Soldier of Noxtella. That's extremely bad. Red Bull for Radagon's arena is tiny, Dragonkin Soldier of Noxtella is huge, and when Dragonkin Soldier gets to phase 2, it starts performing AoE attacks and sort of, I believe it's a lunge. It's not really a proper lunge, but it does, like, it can close distance quite quickly. I'm going to put that as extremely unlucky, mainly because of size. Right, Millennia Blade of Mikla has been replaced with a Regal Ancestor Spirit. That's, I don't think that's really a problem. I think Regal Ancestor Spirit is going to have, this one is going to have the same problem as the standard Ancestor Spirit in the Gideon Ofnir fight. The arena for Regal Ancestor Spirit is huge. Hold on, the Spirit Begin's glowing once it gets before. I get the feeling that this might be fine because it doesn't do an awful lot of damage. Saying that, I could be wrong. The problem is arena size. The actual fight arena for Regal Ancestor Spirit is huge. Whereas Millennia's is fairly small. It could get stuck on terrain or in the roof when it tries to do its jumps. I'm just going to put that as an unlucky because arena size. Right, well, we got Loretta Knight of Haligtree, which is where was this one? This is the one we were just talking about. It's been replaced with Moog. I'm going to put this as a neutral. Moog is fine to fight. It depends on if he gets the blood ritual going. If he does, and like I don't know if it will go into a phase 2. I'm hoping it doesn't, considering that Moog the Omen is a separate boss fight apparently. But at the same time, him being in a much smaller arena makes him more vulnerable as well. So effectively, if he does blood ritual, then yes, it's a real problem. If he doesn't, then it's probably fine. So I'm leaving it neutral. Rykard, Lord of Blasphemy, has been replaced with Malekith the Black Blade. I think this is the most fitting of everything on this list. Rykard, Lord of Blasphemy is a huge arena that also has a lot of pillars in the same way of Malekith's arena. I believe that Rykard's arena is significantly bigger, so there's going to be a lot more room to avoid. But Malekith is really fast. I think this is a neutral simply for the fact that it doesn't matter how good you are, Malekith will still inflict destined death on you, as is his job. Right. Rykard, God Devouring Serpent. So phase 1 is Horaloo. Wow. That actually sucks. Because that's the third last boss in the entire game in Volcano Manor. I'm wondering if they have to scale up or down for that. I'd have to... Let me see. Do I still have the other thing open? Let me see if they scale him up or down. Where are the bosses? I should probably be taking this kind of thing into consideration here. So we are currently on Rykard. No, we're on God Devouring Serpent. So God Devouring Serpent has been replaced with Horaloo. They have scaled him down, which might make him fine, but he's still very aggressive. Like, he will out-aggro you. And also his grabs are fairly easy to avoid. It's the jumping attacks and the entire arena slams that are dangerous. Although saying that, Rykard's arena is significantly bigger, so there's a good chance that it doesn't actually cover the entire arena there. If that is the case, then that's fine. I'm going to put this as a... I don't know, can he outrun me? I'm going to guess maybe. I don't like the idea of this. I'm going to put this as a neutral as well, just because there's a lot of different factors that could make this a problem. Right, Godskin Noble. I can't remember where you fight this specific one. This Godskin Noble is in Volcano Manor. But Godskin Duo are up there. So replacing one of the Godskin duo with Moog and the other one with Beast Clergyman. In which case that's extremely unlucky. Let me have a quick look. Godskin Noble. Is it just on here? Godskin Noble. Okay. Okay, so apparently you fight this one standard in Volcano Manor. And this is the Volcano Manor one. Has been replaced with a Beast Clergyman. I think this is not good. It looks like it was the room you're fighting. Oh, hold on, I recognise this arena then. Sorry, I'm very tired. Yeah, so this arena could be fine. There's a lot of cover. You can get away from a lot of his. Although saying that, it depends on if bestial incantations go through walls. If they do, then that's a real problem. If they don't, then this might be okay. So there's plenty of things you can hide behind. I suppose this is the kind of thing that I'd have to test. So for now, I'm just going to put neutral. Right, Elden Beast is replaced with Sir Gideon Offner. Extremely lucky. +3, easy. Easy. Simple reason being, it's a man-sized enemy. There's no guarantee I'll have all the great runes, or the remembrances. He gets more power based on what runes. I can't remember if it's what runes I give him or what runes I've achieved. Let me have a look. So Gideon Offner the All-Knowing. So he will, let me see, the player originally comes across him as an NPC, uses advanced sorceries, some of which teaches you in exchange for information. He can be found at Lanedale, an instance of the Royal Capital, which is accessible only after making significant progress. This is not an optional boss, you must fight him. For instance, right, so hold on. Gideon is a spellcaster, and some of the spells he has access to depends on which shard bearers you've defeated or places you've visited. So yeah, like, because I've only really fought, the only one I've really got is Radahn's. He will only have a specific, so far at least, he will only have, actually I don't think he has anything specific from it. Yeah, it doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't look like there's any real threat from him, basically. I can't imagine anything he can do in the final arena that's going to be too much of a problem. Radagon has been replaced with Fear's Champions. Again, this is kind of, so Fear's Champions is a boss rush. Like, you fight against just a random dude, and then you fight against Roger, and then you fight against 3. Oh, damn, I'm tired. This is more an endurance battle than anything else, in my opinion. I'm just going to put this as lucky, because at least they're normal sized enemies and they don't have too many like super abilities. So yeah, that's not a problem. Moog the Omen has been replaced with Godric the Grafted. They're going to have to scale Godric up a hell of a lot to match Moog. Saying that, the arenas are about the same size, so it'll be just as difficult to fight Godric there as it is to fight him in Stormvale. I'm going to put that as a neutral. I wanted to put it as an unlucky, just because it's slightly smaller and you have to fight him at all, but I suppose it's better there than some other places. Magma Worm Makar, the gods against the Godskin Noble. Now this is a boss I've already done, and it actually was fairly easy after I managed to get what summon was it, Lorella? The puppet that has the sleep arrows. This was an easy, fairly ridiculously easy boss. Like once I got the pattern down of actually fighting it, it wasn't a problem at all. I'm just going to ignore that one entirely. It doesn't count because I've already done it. Magma Worm Makar, hold on, Rhonat Loretta has been replaced with Godfrey the First Elden Lord. Okay, this is the actual Godfrey. This is a genuine, serious problem because Royal Knight Loretta is the one from Caria Manor, and I was actually talking to somebody earlier because I've actually been to Caria Manor. I went in 10 feet and I saw a lot of things that were going to fuck me up, and I was just like, you know what, maybe not. Saying that, I don't know the actual arena for fighting Royal Knight Loretta in, because it's been a very long time if I have done that battle. If I haven't, then you'll understand even better. But I can guarantee it's smaller than Godfrey's, probably. I'm going to have to leave that as a neutral because I don't have enough information on it. I know that Godfrey is quite dangerous as is, and I'm not looking forward to seeing how that goes. Right, Leonard Misbegotten has been replaced with Magma Makar. This again was fairly easy. I just cheesed the shit out of that. Poisoned him a couple of times, ran around. The arena was big enough to not worry about him. Commander Nile in... Was this the one in Castle Sol? Yeah, Castle Sol one. Has been replaced by Melania. That's not good. So on the upside, there won't be pluses, so there won't be the summons of the two soldier dudes. The downside is Melania is extremely dangerous on her own, and I haven't seen any indication that her second phase has been separated. So this is probably going to be a two-phase fight in Castle Sol, which the arena that you fight Nile in is not big. It's going to be extremely difficult to avoid the Scarlet Ionia. I'm not looking forward to that fight at all. I'll say that. I'm going to put that as extremely unlucky. But just because it's a extremely small arena that you wouldn't want to fight Melania in because of Ionia. If there's no phase 2, then obviously it's lucky. Because then the worst she can do to me is waterfowl. But if she does have the phase 2, then I'm just straight up fucked, because I mean, even then, maybe it's not extremely unlucky, because I can just pack things that resist Scarlet Rot. Let's put this as a very unlucky, and obviously we can find out how I feel about it at the time. Right, Starscourge of Radahn has been replaced with Dragon Lord Placidusax. Placidusax is a pain in the ass to fight anyway. Radahn's arena is bigger, but also the other benefit is the unlimited summons. So this is technically good, but I don't know if the summons are going to be online, because they might be context specific, in the same way as an Onyx Lord not popping up in a place where he's, or an enemy not popping up because it's not specifically an Onyx Lord. For example, Ordis Rise. Saying that, Placidusax doesn't have an awful lot of ranged attacks that can hit you from the same range as Radahn, and you might be able to cheese him when he gets up and flies away. You might be able to cheese him in the same way you can cheese Radahn, assuming he's coming from the right direction. In that you can make him, you know, just basically go into the water or off the map. So I'm going to put this as a neutral, because I don't see it as being that bad, but it's a trial and error kind of thing. Okay, Fire Giant 1 has been replaced with a Mimic Tier. This is very lucky, because you can just cheese yourself. Sorry, hold on, extremely lucky. Because you can just cheese your way through the first phase of Mimic Tier. You can just choose your way through Mimic Tier anyway. And if I hit him hard enough, I might be able to kill him before he even goes to phase 2, which will be extremely lucky. Where I get unlucky is if he does manage to get to phase 2 and then Morgott the Omen King comes out. Morgott the Omen King actually might not be too much of a threat. Most of the threat of Morgott is because it's a huge arena. Not to mention, you can summon a horse here. So I'm going to say that's very lucky. Because I highly doubt Morgott is coded for fights where you have access to your horse. Right, now for the demi-bosses, the mini-bosses, this is going to be slightly harder to work out, and I'm going to have to do a lot of searching on this one specifically, because a lot of these I don't recognise. The graphic design on Necromancer Garrus is actually lucky, because Necromancer Garrus on his own isn't actually that damaging. The only thing that fucked me up was not fully remembering everything he did. I should really have won that fight, but obviously I wasn't totally in tune with my character yet. Dragonkin Soldier. Okay, where is this one? In Ain't Soul River has been replaced with a putrid avatar. That's like basically anything ever being replaced with a putrid avatar is just unlucky. Unlucky. Yeah, putrid avatar is very hard to kill, and I'm not entirely sure of the arena for the Dragonkin Soldier there, but that is like the putrid avatar hits really hard from close and long range. Depends on whether they've scaled it up or down. No, they've scaled it way up. That's extremely painful then. Next, Dragonkin Soldier has been replaced with a full-grown Falling Star Beast. This is gonna be I'm just gonna put this as very unlucky, simply for reason one, I don't know the size of the arena that I'm fighting it in. And number two is it's a Falling Star Beast. They have a lot of gravity magic and can cause a lot of troubles at any range regardless. Crucible Knight Salaria has been replaced with a putrid avatar. I've actually fought Salaria. He was replaced the Dragonic Tree Sentinel. The putrid avatar, though, again, it's just very unlucky. I don't know where the actual fight is for the Crucible, that particular Crucible Knight, but anywhere it is where they've replaced it with a putrid avatar is just horrendous. Abductive Virgin has been replaced with, hold on, a Grave Warden Duelist. Okay, well that's lucky. That's just very lucky. Grave Warden Duelists are roughly human size. They don't have any like real special abilities. They can scream at you, but otherwise they're not like a super threat, so it's fine. Right, this ulcerated tree spirit. Which one is this? This is in Stranded Graveyard, which I believe means it is the one I fought in Fringe Folk Heroes Cavern. I mean, that fight was like, it was a bit hard the first time I went in, but I came back with, you know, upgraded weapons and a girl boss. I assume Tish is female. Let me see if I'm assuming gender. Black Knife Tish. Yeah, it's female. Okay, good. But yeah, basically I wrecked the shit out of that. Soldier of Godric was replaced with the ulcerated tree spirit right at the beginning of my run. This was awful because size of arena. Also, this was specifically from Stranded Graveyard. Oh right, so the one they replaced it with was actually one from Fringe Folk, so it scaled basically the same because I'm not that far different. Yeah, it was awful, but I did overcome it. It took me, I think it was like 8 or 9 times it killed me before, because I was marking down how many times, but I didn't get to 10, so I'm good. Earthtree Cemetery Shade in Tombsaw Catacombs, Spirit Caller Snail. I can't remember where this was. I'm pretty sure I've been to Tombsaw Catacombs though. Spirit Caller Snail depends on what it summons. Basically, that's always yeah, this is a neutral until I realise whether or not I've actually fought this. I think I've only fought one, and that would have been this Spirit Caller Snail here. But yeah, I'm going to put that as a neutral until I know what it summons, because until that point you can't really argue anything. Tree Burial Watchdog being replaced with a Black Knife Assassin. I think I've also done this fight. I'm not 100% sure. Black Knife Assassins are annoying but not impossible to deal with. They're relatively human size, and the most dangerous thing they can actually do to you is the equivalent of Destined Death. and if you can survive that, then you can kill them. And obviously I've got Tish, who is their ringleader, so oh no, Electro was the ringleader. Tish just doesn't matter. Ignore me. I'm tired. Black Knife Assassin. I'm going to put that as a neutral. I'm going to put that as a lucky. True Burial Watchdogs are quite annoying. Black Knife Assassins are annoying, but they're not. They don't do an awful lot of damage in the same way. Like with True Burial Watchdogs, that they'll hit you a lot of times, and when they hit you, you'll be pissed off about it. But at the same time, you'll be like, "Yeah, I could probably have avoided that because it's huge and very slow." Whereas if Black Knight Assassin kills it, Black Knife Assassin hits you, you're like, either he was invisible or they're really fucking quick, and ouch. Oh no. A True Burial Watchdog replaced with a Putrid Grave Warden Duelist. I don't know if this is actually the fight that they replaced with the Grave Warden Duelist and the Perfumer. Well, there might have been a Perfumer and a Crystallion. I can't remember what that fight was at all. I'll have footage of it soon. Putrid Grave Warden Duelist, again, human-sized enemy. Not really anything special. It's also just as slow and painfully difficult to deal with as an True Burial Watchdog. But the upside is he doesn't have the resistances from being literally made of stone. So I'm going to put that as a lucky. Right, Spirit Caller Snail replaced with a Rune Bear. I believe I have done this, actually. I don't know which Spirit Caller Snail that was, or what Rune Bear, but I'm going to put that as a very lucky. Rune Bears don't have a lot of room to manoeuvre in those catacombs, assuming this is where we think it is. Yeah, it's Road's End Catacombs, so I'm pretty sure I've done that one. Yeah, if I remember rightly, it was a fairly easy fight because Rune Bears are huge, and in a small arena they have issues with mobility. A Grave Warden Duelist replaced with an True Burial Watchdog. Where is this one specifically? Murkwater Catacombs. I don't know if I've been there. I can't remember if I've done this fight. That's the thing, is I'm going to have to go through the footage and find all the fights I've done. That way I can go through this and really give it a, a proper look over. Replacing with an True Burial Watchdog is fine. True Burial Watchdogs, not really a big deal. This is just extremely unlucky. Cemetery Shade, where is this? In Black Knife Catacombs. It's been replaced with Astel Stars of Darkness. I can't remember if Astel Stars of Darkness is stronger than Natural Born of the Void, but Cemetery Shades tend to have very small arenas, and Astel is huge. So I'm going to put an extremely unlucky, because that's going to be as difficult, if not more difficult, than Margit. Black Knife Assassin has been replaced with Miranda Blossom. Extremely lucky. Miranda Blossoms are basically useless. They do nothing, they don't move. The worst thing they can do to you is poison you, and you can negate that entirely. Also, they're weak to literally everything. Let me just see if they're scaling this up. True Burial. Oh no, hold on, we're on Black Knife Assassin. Replaced with, yeah, they've had to scale it up by 4. I don't know what these numbers mean. What do the numbers mean, Mason? A True Burial Watchdog replaced by a Putrid Tree Spirit. Which one are the Tree Spirits? Yeah, they're the huge things. That's the Scarlet Rot one. Wait, hold on, is... What is Putrid? Because I thought Ulcerated was... Putrid Tree Spirit. Is it Breed? Is it Bleed? Rotten Tree Root is found. It's an optional boss. Ulcerated is a non-Scarlet Rot. Putrid is a Scarlet Rot. I get the feeling this is going to be awful, but I'm not going to put it as the extremely unlucky. I'm just going to put it as very unlucky for now, because there's so when I fought the standard, the Ulcerated Tree Spirit in the Godric Soldier area, that was bad, but the arena for this is slightly bigger, so there's a good chance that I might be able to just like dodge. It's the big attack, the explosion attack, that's the problem, and obviously getting eaten. That sucks. Tree Barrier Watchdog replaced with a Cemetery Trade. Cemetery Trades are stupid enemies. They take tons of damage because they've got literally no resistances. They have shit for poise and usually die in about 4 hits from a decently scaled weapon. Ancient Hero Zamor has been replaced with an Onyx Lord. This is interesting because you're basically replacing an ice version with a gravity version. I'm going to say that's neutral because they both basically do the same thing just in different ways. The only real difference is that the Onyx Lord AoE just pulls you to it, and that's assuming it hits you, whereas the Zamor one gets a freezing field and the equivalent of Hoarfrost Stomp, and those two things suck together. So that's my reasoning. Red Wolf for a Champion has been replaced by Crystallion. Crystallions are really easy to kill. I'm just going to put that as very lucky. Crystallions are really hard to kill unless they're accompanied by other things that are more annoying. For example, in my last VOD, the main reason I died so much to that specific one is because there was also other things that usually aren't paired with Crystallions. I think Asmongold was talking about it during his stream, where like a lot of the things that make mobs worse in randomizers is that they're not being randomized to be with things they would normally be with, and that like, so at one end I had the worm face thing, and at the other end I had the putrid Crystallion, and there was also other enemies that were like just making my life a hell. But yeah, like having I don't know where the Red Wolf as a Champion is fought. Let me see. Gelmir Hero's Grave. So yeah, it's going to be roughly the size of a standard room. I might have already done this fight as well. Gelmir Hero's Grave, because that's one with all lava, so I think I have done that one. And I don't think it was even remotely a threat. Crucible Knight being replaced, that's just extremely lucky. I love to see Crucible Knights being ignored and replaced with other things. It makes my life easier. Black Knife Assassin being replaced with an Ancient Hero Zamor. I'm going to put a +2 on that. Again, Black Knife Assassins are extremely difficult to deal with. Ancient Hero Zamors, not really. They're kind of slow, kind of stupid. They don't do an awful lot of damage. The worst thing they can do is Frostbite build up, which is painful and reduces your stamina. But on the other hand, you know, so does running. Misbegotten Warrior replaced with Clean Rock Knight. Now it depends on what specific Clean Rock Knight. Let me see. Misbegotten Warrior replaced with Clean Rock Knight from Stillwater Cave. If it's a standard Clean Rock Knight, that's actually either way. It's just very lucky. Actually, no, it's neutral, isn't it? Hold on. What are we? Oh shit! I've just lost it. What Misbegotten Warrior is this? From Unsightly Catacombs. Let me just check what the Misbegotten Warrior is. Misbegotten Warrior. It's a field boss. Okay, so it's the fast one. Okay. Being replaced with Clean Rock Knight. Clean Rock Knights are slower. I'm going to put this at neutral. Clean Rock Knights are slower, but they also deal more damage and have more access to a lot of different skills. Misbegotten Warriors are just fast, and they deal a lot of damage. Clean Rock Knights are easier to stay away from at a distance, so I'm going to put that as a neutral because, like, they basically, those two types of enemies are basically just polar opposites of each other, which is fine. Grave Warden Duelist has been replaced with a Magma Worm. Where is this Grave Warden Duelist? Arise aside tomb. It's in a tomb. I mean, that Magma Worm is going to be really hard to kill then. I'm going to put that as unlucky. Smaller. I'm guessing it means a small arena, and the small arenas are not good for enemies like Magma Worms that can spew lava. A Tree Barrier Watchdog replaced with an Ulcerated Tree Spirit. In Minor Erdtree Catacombs, God, it's from this, and this is the ultimate tree spirit from the Giant's Mountaintop Catacombs. So that's going to be a weird way of. You're going to have to scale that down by a lot. I'm going to say this is unlucky. Although, what I might do is I might just put it as neutral again. Simply for the reason that the same thing that I put the Putrid Avatar, the Putrid Tree Spirit up here, is that the room is. It might be big enough to stay far enough away from the explosion, and it might also be enough to block getting eaten. But there's no real way to tell. Cemetery Shade has been replaced with a Beastman of Farum Azula. That's just unlucky. Like, I'm not going to say the Beastman of Farum Azula is a particularly tough enemy, but Cemetery Shade is an easy enemy. So, it's kind of, you know, you just sort of... Right, Putrid Tree Spirit. We've been replaced with a Fell Twin now. I'm not sure if this is a Fell Twin or both Fell Twins, which I believe are omens. Although saying that, getting something with Scarlet Rot the fuck off me is good. Fuck. So I'm going to put that as a lucky, which is +1. Right, Ancient Hero Zamora has been replaced with a Cemetery Shade. That's very lucky. Again, you're replacing an actual enemy with an enemy that has no real defense, and it basically isn't even a remote problem. Ulcerated Tree Spirit replaced with Crystallian. Now, Ulcerated must be the default Tree Spirit then. Against and replacing it with Crystallian that's very lucky. Crystallians don't eat you. The worst thing they do is they jump closer to you with a spear, or they throw their Beyblades at you. Putrid Grave Warden Daughters have been replaced with a Sanguine Noble. I don't know what Sanguine Noble is. I'm pretty sure that's the thing that uses Thorns magic, though. Let me just test that. Sanguine. Come on, I can spell. Sanguine Noble is a boss in Elden Ring. Yeah, he uses. Oh. Slashes ground, leaving blood puddles. Touching the blood puddles will build up bleed. Just avoid the blood puddles then. Interesting. So it looks like it doesn't have any real... Bring staunching boluses to stop bleed build up. Seems easy. I think this is probably fine then. I'm going to put this as a neutral, because I think, like, even if there is a benefit to that particular trade, it's the same kind of enemy. So, Strain Mimicked here, being replaced with Scaling Misbegotten. Scaling Misbegottens, where are they from? Fucking hell. They're from that castle, whichever one of the castles it is. They're going to have to scale that a hell of a long way up to make it a threat, but it depends on what the Stray Mimic is. I'm going to leave that as neutral, because I don't have enough information. Replacing a Rune Bear with a Cemetery Shade, again, very lucky. Right, if that's where, I know it's not the Rune Bear I'm thinking of, because the Rune Bear I'm thinking of was replaced with a Goldskin Apostle. But that one, even then, hold on, is that the right place? Let me see. Rune Bear, Earthball Cave. Oh yeah, so it should be fine. Miranda Blossom has been replaced with Grave Warden Daughters. I believe I've already killed this guy too. I summoned Tish and he didn't do shit. Beastman of Farum Azula has been replaced with Clean Rock Knight. Also, this was the fight in the very first cave, Seafront Cave, whatever the fuck it was. Maybe? I don't know. But yeah, it was him and the Crystallian, so I'm pretty sure. But then again, this is the same argument for the you know, Misbegotten and Clean What Night. Clean What Night has been, there you go, and again, neutral. It looks like they've just replaced the Clean What Nights with things that are the direct opposite of them, and vice versa. Bloodhound Knight has been replaced with Black Knight Assassin, thank God. I'm considering that lucky. I hate Bloodhound Knights. They're like one of my least favourite enemies to go against because of how mobile they are. Crystallion has been replaced with an True Burial Watchdog. That's not really too bad. I'll put that as lucky. No, actually that's a neutral. Whoops. That is neutral because both of those aren't really like huge threat level enemies. Kindred of Rot has been replaced with Demi-Human Queen Margot. I'd say that's quite unlucky, depending on where it's based. Let me see. Kindred of Rot in Seathwater Cave. I don't know where that is. I'm going to say it's unlucky, distinctly unlucky though. Let's go with very unlucky. I'm guessing that that arena is going to be quite small, and Demi-Human Queens are quite large and very aggressive. Demi-Human Queen Margot has been replaced with Royal Revenant. That's just extremely unlucky. Doesn't matter how big that arena is, I'm going to get eaten. Beastman of Pharaoh Missoula has been replaced with Bloodhound Knight. I'm looking at it neutral. Both of those enemies are about as mobile as each other. The Beastman is slightly more annoying because it's less predictable, whereas the Bloodhound Knight will always just go for finesse as often as it can. Putrid Crystallion has been replaced with a True Burial Watchdog. That's lucky. The Putrid Crystallions have Crystal Storm Shards. Crystal Shards that can inflict Scarlet Rot, whereas an True Burial Watchdog does not. Misbegotten Crusader has been replaced by Stone Digger Troll. This entirely depends on the size of the arena, so I'm leaving it as a neutral. Demi-Human Chief has been, this is one I actually, I think I killed it on my second try. I believe I took damage. Going into the arena I wasn't prepared at all, so that one doesn't count at all. Guardian Golem has been replaced by Stray Mimic Tier. I'm not entirely sure on what a Stray Mimic Tier actually does. Let me just sort of read. Stray Mimic Tier. Ah, weird. Oh, okay, so there is a Stray Mimic Tier is literally just the same as a Mimic Tier. In which case, cool. Extremely lucky. Cheese. How many more to go? God damn. Okay, what we got next? Miranda the Blighted Bloom replaced with a Falling Star Beast. Depends on where this one is. In Perfumer's Grotto. I'm going to go with just unlucky. I'm going to go with very unlucky. I'm guessing that the Miranda was originally put there because of sizing, whereas the Falling Star Beast is huge. Black Knife Assassin, Escar Priest of Blood. This is basically a Sanguinoble, right? Escar Priest of Blood, or is this one with a lightsaber? I don't think this is going to be a particular problem. Why are they replacing it with Black Knife Assassin? I'm going to just go with neutral here. They're both human-sized enemies, so I should be fine. Necromancer Garrus has been replaced with a Crystallion. That is neutral. Actually, that's lucky. Again, Crystallion. Saying no, I'm going to go back to neutral simply because I don't know the size of this arena. Flame Rock Knight replaced with Stone Digger Troll, that's bad. Trolls are huge, and because it's a Stone Digger Troll, it will reflect a lot of damage. Whereas Clean Rock Knight, even with a spear, which means it's a Scarlet Rot variant, makes that. I don't know, both of those seem equally bad, so I'm just going to go with neutral. Frenzy Duelist has been replaced with a Putrid Crystallion. Where is this? Jail Cave. Is this somewhere I've been? Let me see. Jail Cave. Yeah, okay, so this is one I did yesterday night. So there were two Tree Burial Watchdogs and this particular Crystallion. Luckily, Teach put the work in, and I think we died a couple of times, but mainly it was due to gravity rather than actually the bosses. Spirit Collar Snail has been replaced with a Crucible Knight. That's extremely unlucky. On the upside, we don't have to fight multiple bosses. On the downside, the one boss we do have to fight is a Crucible Knight. Scaly Musk Begotten has been replaced with Element of the Briar. I think this one's the Sith Lord, right? Element of the Briar. Swings the sword in various directions. It may or may not glow red. Yeah, it's a dancing sword. Yeah, that's a literal Avengers level threat. Element is really powerful. I need to see if they scaled him up or down. Wow, they scaled him down a lot. So I'm gonna have to put this as since I don't know Morn Tunnel. I do know where that is vaguely. Oh, Castle Morn. That's where the Margit is in this world. Where it fought the dragon on that one time, and the boss at the end is Hakar or Makar or Theodoric, so I can't remember which Mackmore one, but it's Castle Morn. Considering this is a tunnel, I'm going to go with that's quite unlucky. I don't know what size the arena is going to be. I'm just going to put that as unlucky. Because if it's in a small room, then that's going to be hard to kill. Stone Digger Troll has been replaced with Soldier of Godric. I mean, that's just extremely unlucky. I mean, they don't call him the Soldier of God for no reason. Hold on, let me put a little lol. There you go, now everyone knows I'm joking. Okay. A Crystallion is replaced with an Abductor Virgin. It's a spinning one. Crystallions usually have quite large arenas. I don't know, I guess I could go with neutral on that. I think they're both... I get the feeling they're both usually good in their own arenas. Stone Digger Troll has been replaced with a Frenzied Duelist. I'm going to go with unlucky on that one. While it's a lot smaller than a Stone Digger Troll, it's a lot more aggressive. A Crystallion has been replaced with a Godskin Apostle. Where is this particular Crystallion? Ringblade, Altus Tunnel. Did I fight this one already? I'm going to have to go with neutral because I'm not sure. Okay, Magma Worm has been replaced with a Demi-Human Chief. That's very lucky. Falling Star Beast has been replaced with a Beastman of Farum Azula. That shouldn't be a problem. Because I think the arena that we're talking about is one of those circular ones behind a wooden door at the very bottom of any mining cave. And obviously a Beastman of Farum Azula will be a lot easier to fight in there than the Falling Star Beast. Even though I've done that the reason I know this arena is I know Cellar Crystal Tunnels, and I know that boss fight against that particular Falling Star Beast, so I am pretty sure it's not anything remotely considering a threat, and it's even less so considering that it's now just that dude from the first cave in the game. Right, Estelle Stars of Darkness are replaced with a Crucible Knight or Dovis. I'm going to put that as lucky. Again, I don't know which one is the dangerous one out of the two Estelles. Like, Estelle, Natural Bond and Void, you can sort of get away with, you can cheese the shit out of that. I don't know enough about Estelle Stars of Darkness to really be able to say. The Onyx Lord has been replaced with a Red Wolf for the Champion in Divine Tower of West Altus. I don't know if this is the, because I know I fought a Red Wolf in a dungeon, in a Legacy dungeon or a cave. So I'm going to go with neutral until I know for sure. Godskin Impossible has been replaced with an Erdtree Burial Watchdog. I'm going to go with neutral on that one. Simply because depends which one's the apostle. If it's a big fat one, then it's fine. Godskin Impossible, no, it's not, it's the other one. Okay, yeah, in that case it's lucky. I hate the Godskin Apostles. Right, Fell Twin has been replaced with Kindred of Rock. It really depends on what they're doing here, because if they scale up too far, then the Sticky Fingers will kill me straight up every time I fail upon spawning in. Other than that, Fell Twins are omens, so there might be two Kindred of Rock. Or there might be another random enemy in there as well. I think I'm going to go with neutral because there's not enough information for me right now. Esgar, Priest of Blood, has been replaced with a Demi-Human Queen. This is unlucky, again, size. I have to assume that the Esgar's arena isn't that huge, and being replaced with something that is fairly large is a problem. Although saying that, I don't know which Demi-Human Queen is which of the three. When I did one of my previous randomizer runs, the Godric Knight in the tutorial hole was one of the Demi-Human Queens. I don't know which one. So, right, Electo has been replaced with Bloodhound Knight Darrywell. I've already killed Electo, so I don't know how to feel about this. Because Darrywell is one that I haven't fought yet because it's in Everjail. I suppose it depends on what they do with his scaling, but for now I'm going to go with unlucky. Because obviously, as I've mentioned, I have already killed one copy of Electo. So whether or not that has any impact on my ability to defeat this one. Erdtree Avatar has been replaced with Tyrannus Mariner. Very lucky, extremely lucky. Tibia Mariner is one of the insanely easiest things to kill in this whole game. The only way you can die to a Tibia Mariner is by getting greedy. Their ability to raise the dead is contextual, purely contextual. So the only reason it can raise a hold on, let me just quickly check this. Has it got a the only reason it can summon them sometimes is because it's near a graveyard, and that's kind of the point of the battle, is meant to be sort of cinematic. In the sense that, look, it's near a graveyard, it can summon things that are dead to fight alongside it, but obviously if you're not actually in a graveyard, because I've fought two of these so far. One of them was in Caelid by the Bestial Sanctum, and the other one, and it replaced the Blackblade Kindred, and I can't remember where the other one was, but I know I fought two of them. But one way or the other, they've tried blowing the horns to do the summons, but they ain't shit all, so coming back to life for them. Dragons being replaced by dragons is just yikes. I'm just going to have to create a whole... Oh no, this is fine. Bowls has been replaced by Battle Mage Hughes. I think I have already fought him, so I'm just going to put neutral there. I'm pretty sure this is one of the ones I have actually fought. I'm just going to put... Yikes. Yikes. I don't really like fighting dragons. I find them difficult at the best of times to deal with. Their size, the ability to move around very quickly if they want to. Some of them breathe fire, some of them will inflict you with scarlet rot. Lanciax will hit you with death lightning, especially that ancient dragon one, I believe. And all of that is just a big fuck that. Replacing Royal Revenant with just a Black Knife Assassin, that is very lucky. Simply for the reason of you're not fighting this one less Revenant you have to fight. Glintstone Dragon and Jeweler being replaced by X-Yikes. That's sorry, hold on. Mega Yikes. This one here is an Ultra Yikes because it's Ancient Dragon. Omen Killer has been replaced with a Dragonkin Soldier. Depends on where this fight takes place entirely. In Leonia, West Albanote Village. Oh, okay, so yeah, the Omen Killer is the boss there with the, it's very aggressive. Been replaced with a giant. I think I'm going to say that's lucky. Something you can see from a distance, you can cheese it a bit. Magmar has been replaced with a Deathrite Bird, that's extremely unlucky. On my list of things that I would rather not see, Deathrite Birds are one of them. That the Black Flame it does Frostbite, and I think it does Black Flame, but I'm not sure if it actually does Deathblight, but it's pretty fucking annoying. Deathrite Bird has been replaced with a Knight's Cavalry. I'll take Death Knight Cavalry over a Deathrite Bird any day. And the Knight's Cavalry has been replaced with a slightly different Knight's Cavalry in a sweeping, incredible set of nonsense. I'm just going to put that as neutral then, since they're not doing anything. I mean, literally not doing anything. Onyx Lord has been replaced with a Dance Thief of Fire. Adan is kind of crap. I'll be serious here. Like he's got one big attack that's nothing more than here's a party trick that I can do, by the way. And like, I mean, if you fight the fire giant, then you already know how to deal with that particular thing. So that's lucky because he's useless. Full-grown this is a boss I fought. This is one I fought on Mount Gelmir on the way into Volcano Manor. That was a bitch hard fight, but it was exclusively because they scaled the tree sentinel from 3 to 11. I don't know what those numbers mean, but that's a lot. That's a lot of upscaling. That's a lot of upduting they did. That's ridiculous. Deathbird to Death Paradise to Knight's Cavalry. I'm just going to put that as a lucky. I don't like fighting Knight's Cavalry at all, but it's better than fighting a Deathbird. Belvarian Death Hunter is being replaced by a Deathbird. I'm even going to put that one as lucky because the Belvarian Hunters are quite difficult. That's a yikes. But what kind of yikes? Let me see. Lanciax has been replaced by Borealis. Yeah, no, that's sheerly unlucky. Right, Demi-Human Queen Maggie has been replaced by Black Blade Kindred. I'm going to say these two are basically the same thing. Just because of their size and aggression. So I'm going to put it as a neutral. I know that the Black Blade Kindred has a few tricks that Demi-Human Queen does not. But let me see what they're scaling it with. Oh! Demi-Human Queen. Where's it gone? No, hold on. Killer? Okay, we're getting there. Mount Gelmir, Primeval Sorcerer as a Black Blade Kindred from Mount Top of the Giants. Before I should roll. Also a Tree Spirit replaced by that's just unlucky. I mean, they're both the same, roughly the same amount of yikes, but The Scarlet Rot, actually, you know what? The Scarlet Rot makes it worse. Advanced Thief of Fire has been replaced by Bowls with Carrion Knight. I'm going to put that as a neutral, neither of them are a real, like, specific danger. Bowls has the Carrion Dagger thing that they can fly at you, which is dangerous if he attacks at the same time as they land. Otherwise not bad. Erdtree Avatar has been replaced to a Black Knife Assassin. And I go with a Lucky on that. Black Knife Assassins have far less health and resistances. Demi-Human Queen's been replaced with a Mad Pumpkinhead. That's very lucky. Mad Pumpkinheads are stupid. And they're generally very easy to cheese. Tibia Mariner has been replaced with Commander O'Neill from Caelid. Tibia Mariner. Commander O'Neill from Caelid. It depends on how they're scaling him. I mean, where does this fight take place? In Altus. I don't know. I don't know if that's better or worse. I suppose it's probably better since that version doesn't have the lightning attacks. And I'm just going to put it as neutral. I don't really see it as a threat. It depends on what the arena is, but Tibia Mariners are generally out in the open. So I'll say it's probably fine. Oh man, how many more? Not many, we're getting there. A Knight's Cavalry has been replaced with a Deathbird, that's just unlucky. Easy. Tibia Mariner replaced by a Black Blade Kindred, that's very unlucky. Simply the fact of Black Blade Kindred actually can hit you. Tibia Mariner you can avoid literally everything. Let me just see about this one. Tibia Mariner has been replaced by Black Blade Kindred. Yeah, they've had to scale that down quite a lot. Godfrey the Grafted. Godfrey the Grafted. Godfrey the Grafted. Unless this is in an Everjail. Yeah, it is. Okay, good to know. It's been replaced with an Onyx Lord. That's very lucky. Again, Onyx Lords aren't that scary. Knight's Cavalry has been replaced with a Bell-Bearing Hunter. Let me just quickly check this guy out. Bell-Bearing Hunters. Oh god, I don't like with that. I suppose I could very easily say that this isn't as much of a problem. I don't know. I suppose I prefer an on-foot enemy. I'm just going to leave it as neutral because I recognise how dangerous both of them are. Element of Briar has been replaced by a Guardian Golem, and that's actually lucky. Simply because Guardian Golems are slow, huge, really easy to hit. They have very obvious weak points. Black Knife Assassin has been replaced with an Omen Killer. That's dangerous. I'm going to put that as an unlucky. Simply because of the fact that Omen Killers are really aggressive. Sanguine Noble. Where does this fight take place? Sanguine Noble. Altus Plateau, Bower of Beauty. I don't know, this is going to be a unlucky, because I know how dangerous a Grafted Scion can be. It also depends on where, like the size of the arena. Falling Star Beast is replaced with an Erdtree Avatar. Where is this Falling Star Beast battle meant to take place exactly? Altus, south of the tree. Oh, okay, so there's a tree. Oh, south of the Tree Sentinel duo. Oh, it's the one that's out in the open. I'm going to say that's lucky, considering it's out in the open. Tree Sentinel was replaced by, yeah, so this is the boss at the top of the thing where there's two Tree Sentinels. These two are combined as a yikes. But it's okay, you can ride straight past them. Yeah, these two are the two that are in that place. So, unlucky. It's not often you get to unlucky something twice, basically. Right, this is a yikes. Lance the Axe has been replaced with a jeweler. Well, I think this is slightly less yikes, because a jeweler is like basically, besides Placido's Axe, I don't think there's anything stronger than Ancient Dragon Lance the Axe. One Face has been replaced with an Erdtree avatar. Is that out in the wild? Outer Plateau with Cloak Ruins. That could be fine. Actually, I'm just going to put that as very lucky. There is literally no enemy I hate more in the game than One Face. Ancient Hero Zamor has been replaced with Godofrey Grafted. This is in the Everjail, the Weeping Everjail, if I remember rightly. I have done this fight a couple of times and I haven't managed to kill it, so I'm just going to put that as unlucky. What button did I just press? Apparently insert doesn't do shit in Notepad. That's good. Tree Sentinel was replaced with Dragon Soldier. I have killed this, so this is an irrelevant point. Crucible Knight was replaced by Electro, who I have killed. Deathbird has been replaced like that. That's so lucky, that's just a plus one. Simply because I hate Deathbirds. Bellbearing Hunter was replaced with a different Bellbearing Hunter. Let me see what craziness is going on there. I'm gonna go with neutral then, because obviously, same as before, it's just them replacing something with the same thing. Ghost Skin Apostle. Didn't I just check up on which one is which? God's Skin Apostle. It's being replaced with an Erdtree avatar. That's neutral because neither is particularly good, plus it depends on location. Erdtree avatar replaced with Theodorix. I've fought this boss and I killed it. Flying Dragon Agheel being replaced with Glintstone Dragon Adula. That's yikes. I can't remember if that's the one that does Comet Azure. Nearly there, nearly there. Knight's Cavalry replaced with Deathbird, unlucky, -1. Just because I don't like Deathbirds. Bellbearing Hunter replaced with a Knight's Cavalry. I don't know which one I like more, but I'm going to guess Bellbearing Hunter because it's ground mounted. It isn't on a horse. I'm in a tank. Deathbird replaced with Bellbearing Hunter. I'm going to put that as lucky. While I haven't fought a Bellbearing Hunter in a very long time, anything's better than Deathbirds. Knight's Cavalry replaced with Deathbirds. Unlucky. Shit, not -4. Bloodhound Knight Darrowell. This is another one I've fought and killed. I beat Vike. Mad Pumpkin Head replaced with Misbegotten Crusader. This is the one with the Golden Order sword that royally fucked me up in that very, very small room a good number of times until I killed him. Deathbird replaced with Knight's Cavalry. Lucky. Tibia Mariner being replaced with Wormface. What the fuck is this? I don't know if it's out in the open or not. I'm just going to go with very unlucky because I don't like Wormfaces at all. Right, Draconical Tree Sentinel replaced with Siluria. I have killed Siluria. Didn't get his staff, sadly. Putrid Avatar replaced with Tree Sentinel. That's a plus in many ways. Very lucky. No Scarlet Rock. Worst thing you can do is hit you really hard. King X replaced with Smarag. Yikes, because I don't know the difference between the glintstone dragons. I know there's one in Ralakari and one in Kaled, but that's about it. Mad Pumpkin Head replaced with Miranda the Blighted Bloom, very lucky. Again, the plants are useless. I should have been streaming this really, but just chatting. Bellbearing Hunter replaced with a Deathrite Bird, unlucky. Replaced with unlucky. That should be very unlucky actually, that's very lucky. Yeah, I think I should probably put Deathrite Birds as the other way round. That's lucky because they're not mounted. Deathrite Bird replaced with the Knights Cavalry, very lucky. Commander O'Neill replaced with the Falling Star Beast. The Falling Star Beast in the middle of Kate in the Scarlet Rot in Caleb. You know what? That's not actually terrible. Considering the size of its arena and you can be horseback mounted. I'm gonna put that as lucky. Nox Monk replaced with an Erdtree Burial Watchdog. I'm going to put this as neutral because I don't know enough about what Nox Monks are. Battle Mage Hughes replaced with a Crucible Knight. Actually, just straight up yikes. The thing is it's not like I know that I'm going to die to Crucible Knights, I just know that they're hard to kill and, like, more importantly, they're annoying to kill. And therefore I will avoid them as often as I can. Black Blade Kindred replaced with an Erdtree Avatar. Where is this one? Oh, Mountain Top of the Giants. Okay, so I'll put that as neutral. They're both fairly annoying bosses. Great Roman Theodorix replaced with Tibia Mariner. Have I done that fight? No, I haven't. That's very lucky. That's actually extremely lucky. Depending, actually. I'm going to put that as very lucky. Simply because I know in Man Top of the Giants they can do a thing where, like, a hand comes up and grabs you, which sucks. Deathrite Bird replaced with Demi-Human Queen, very lucky. Because it's replacing a Deathrite Bird. Putrid Avatar has been replaced by a Magma Worm, that's lucky. No Scarlet Rot for me. Crucible Knight replaced by Nox Monk, that's just very lucky. Whatever a Nox Monk is, it's not a Crucible Knight. Future Avatar replaced by Gogskin Apostle, which is a skinny one. Where is this? Oh, that's by that Erdtree in Grails then. I'm gonna go with neutral. Actually, you know what, lucky. Because that fight is actually doable. The only reason I was avoiding it when I was because I was trying to activate Radahn's Great Rune. Black Blade Kindred replaced with Tibia Mariner. This will be the one by the Bestial Sanctum. So that is Nilpa because I've already killed it. Flying Dragon Grail in Dragon. This is on the bridge on the passing. This is Omega Yikes. Because I get the feeling that magic can one-shot me when he does the lightning. Let me see, Flying Dragon Grail. They've actually raised his level. They've scaled him +5 from, yeah, that's really bad. Knights Cavalry to Knights Cavalry, so I'm neutral. Considering there's nothing changed, probably. Tree Avatar is a Tree Sentinel, depending on where it is. I'm gonna guess out in the open, so Tree Sentinel is where I fought Theodorix, up at I think it's Limgrave, the Weeping Peninsula minor Erdtree. In the previous run it was Tree Sentinel, and you can cheese. So I'm going to put that as a lucky. Roundtable Knight Vike was replaced by an ancient hero, Zaymor. I think I've done this fight, but in case I haven't, I'm just going to put it neutral. Borealis Freezing Fog has been replaced by Grail. I'm going to go with, oh yeah, it's a dragon, so yikes. Knights Cavalry replaced by Knights Cavalry, neutral. And Knights Cavalry replaced by Deathrite Bird is very unlikely. Right, let's add up all of this now. See what my score is. I don't know how this is going to work. I don't know how this is actually scaled. -1, 0, -3, -1, back at 0, oh, -2, still on -2. Oh god. Oh, we're on to 1. Oh no, we're back to -2. -1. Oh. 1. 4. 7. 8. 10. You know what? Fuck these numbers. Basically, there's a good number of extremely unluckies and there's a good number of extremely luckies. What I'm going to do next time, next time I start a new randomizer, is I'm going to go through all this stuff first, because like, even just sort of looking at how it's randomized is really cool for, you know, like just getting an idea of what you're doing. On the upside, I did find from it, I did find where the other piece of the Nexus medallion is, so it's going to be much easier to get now, and I'm going to be at Mount Top of the Giants soon, probably as early as the very start of the next one, assuming the other half of the medallion is where it says it is. Oh god, right, I'm going to go to sleep now. It is now, Jesus Christ, 1 o'clock in the morning. Thanks for watching, and I hope you've enjoyed listening to me ramble with the Elden Ring soundtrack in the background. Good night, folks.